So to wrap up my content analysis, I'm going to dive into the limitations of this study and the conclusions of this study. I'll be doing both in this last video here on this slide, so if you would like to read more in depth, feel free to just skip ahead to the conclusion slide and then visit back to this video to hear my more in-depth analysis of the conclusions. Firstly, limitations of this study. I would really like to see this study replicated in a larger scope. So to me, a big limitation is the sampling body, right? Only 10 advertisements. I would really like to see this study replicated with 1,000, 5,000, maybe 100,000 advertisements. I think that would really shed more light and give us more data on the issue of erasure of dark-skinned Black women in media representation, specifically advertisement, even when advertisements targeting this demographic and representing this demographic would be beneficial to advertisers. I would also like to see more studies done on the impact of this media erasure, this representation erasure, lack of representation of dark-skinned Black women, and the impacts on self-esteem, development, childhood development. All of these forms of anti-Blackness have extreme consequences for Black women who look like Mayowa and navigate the world like Mayowa and her audience. So I would really like to see this focused on more in studies around media. And lastly, conclusions. Like I mentioned before, it's really, I don't want to say shocking, because it wasn't shocking to me that there was such a lack of representation, but it was a little surprising that there was not a single actor featured that represented or resembled Mayowa or her audience. Even on videos that were explicitly talking about these topics, I could think of, so many different advertisements that I've seen, makeup, fashion, different advertisements that really would make so much sense to target towards Mayowa's audience, that were just absent in the advertisements that I observed. And I would be curious to know if this would change, if the sampling body would be bigger. Another big aspect to a limitation, or something that I would want to change in the future, is I would be really interested to see if someone replicated this study but had people from different demographics with their specific algorithms that are targeted specifically towards them, and see if and how much the demographics change based on that. I think that would be really interesting. Again, of note, this was completely anonymous since I used DuckDuckGo, which does not have any tracking, nor was I logged into my account. So this was a completely anonymous way of viewing the advertisements. In my conclusion, when I look at all of this information, something that really stands out to me is how erasure like this works hand in hand with the idea of anti-Blackness, and how light skin is seen as desirable and therefore more suitable to sell products. I truly believe that is a big reason that we don't see particularly dark-skinned Black women in roles directly selling products. I think that is a really harmful and very real reflection of our society. Again, if you would like to learn more about these subjects, about the erasure of Black women in media, particularly dark-skinned Black women, colorism, texturism, featureism, which is a way of analyzing how different features are phenotypic, different phenotype features are deemed desirable or not desirable in our society. And again, Mayowa is a really great resource on that. She's also really entertaining, she is really creative. She has a lot of really interesting ways of analyzing the things that she talks about. I learn a lot from her, and she also has really great fashion and makeup techniques and all kinds of things that make me a really big fan of her content. So definitely check her out, and I hope you enjoyed my content analysis and that you are able to take away some meaningful bits of knowledge from this presentation and implement it into your life. Thank you so much.